anti-inflammatory beet and ginger salad. It's best to begin with fresh ingredients like these. It's a little more difficult to prepare, but it's worth it, especially taste and health-wise. I'm David Jackson. 40 years ago, I was cooking in swanky hotels and winning awards from the American Culinary Federation. 30 years ago, I hosted a nutrition-conscious cooking series for the Hospital Satellite Network. 10 years ago, despite half a century of good eating habits, I found out that I wasn't immortal. And I'm not alone. Can doctors' orders to moderate salt, fat, and refined carbs share our plates with mouth-watering gourmet recipes? Yes, they can. After washing, detach and discard the spindly tail ends of the beets. Then cut off the stems and greens for another use. These beet tops are very edible. They're loaded with vitamins and minerals and excellent in salads or sautéed just like kale or chard. The next step is to wrap each beetroot in foil. This allows them to steam as they roast. Place them on a pan to prevent drips, and then pop them into the oven at 375 degrees for an hour or more, depending on their size. Now to check for doneness, just give them a squeeze. Fully cooked beets remain firm but a little flexible to the touch. After letting them cool a bit, the messy part begins. Glove up and work over the pan they roasted in. Shed the foil, then using both your fingers and a small paring knife, peel off the outer skin and trim any odd bits that might still be attached. It should all come away fairly easily, leaving nothing but the smooth, dark, purple-red flesh that's both earthy-sweet and nutritious. And here is the end result of all that work. Actually, it wasn't all that much work, and it's worth it. It really is. Much better than canned. There's no sodium in these. So let's move these to the side. And all we're going to do, and you see the staining gloves count in this. We're just going to cut these into big, bold chunks. Also, see the rings in there? Those are beautiful. I love those. Just literally quartering the big chunks. One of the great things about beets is they literally grow in the ground, so they are loaded with all kinds of vitamins and minerals. And of course, very good at fighting inflammation. All right. Everything back into the bowl. All right, beets are sitting there, and now the other component of this recipe is ginger. I've got a very large thumb of ginger here because we're going to use quite a bit of it. It also is very anti-inflammatory or inflammation-fighting food. And always cross-cut because ginger is very fibrous lengthwise, so you want to cut across it. And then you can mince it up nice and small. Then cross it again. There we go. Now that's probably 3 tablespoons. And it's all going to go in this lovely salad. Simple salad. Anti-inflammatory salad. There we go. Now let's bring this over into the middle. And the next step is walnut oil. We're just going to put about 2 tablespoons in to bind this all together. Walnut oil is a superb oil. Very nutty flavored, very mellow, light. Has a fairly high cooking point too, which is nice. But it's got a lot of omega-3s in it. That's about 2 tablespoons right there. And then a tiny little pinch, 2-finger pinch of salt. All it needs, you don't need much. And a nice grind of black pepper. We don't use that stuff too much on food over 50, but every once in a while, salt and pepper is pretty darn good. And then it's just a nice mix. See how the ginger immediately gets stained by the beet juice? But it looks beautiful. There we go. And now, let's bring that over. And a nice plate. And lastly, hang on, let's do this. Lastly, we're going to throw a little tiny bit more olive oil into a little bit of fresh arugula. It's also called rocket salad. And again, tiny pinch of salt, 1 finger pinch of salt, a little more pepper. That gets a quick toss. And the beet salad on a bed of arugula is the bomb. There we go. Nope, get rid of those. And now the business. Oop. Get back in there, Junior. Why don't you try fighting some inflammation with that? Freshly roasted beet and ginger salad. It takes a bit of extra effort, but it pays dividends. The mellow sweetness of the inky red beets paired with the unmistakable bite and zing of the ginger are enhanced with subtle omega-3 rich walnut oil. And nutritionally, this salad is an indomitable force against chronic inflammation.